Hello, Nerd Nation. Take two. Hello, Nerd Nation, and welcome to another episode of Strategic Gaming. My name is Mac Taylor, here to talk about Survivor Palau Season 10. Gonna put an end to the Gen 1 of Survivor. Season 11 through 20 will roll through to Gen 2 of Survivor. This is also the last Survivor season to not feature immunity idols. This really is like the end of an era here in Survivor. And there is just plenty to talk about here on this season. So without further ado, we're going to roll through. We got Phase 1 here. Going to start out with 20 people. Going to have to, of course, get down to 15. So we start out, it's a race to the shore. Basically, they got two individual immunity necklaces at the shore. They're on a boat, all 20 of them. And, first two to get to those immunity necklaces, we'll find out later what's going on. So, as they're going, down the way, Stephanie is like, hey, I'm a good swimmer. So she jumps out of the boat, and Jonathan jumps with her. And they quickly realize that they're not going to outswim a boat being paddled by 18 people. So they are quickly just left in the dust. They are not going to get those immunity necklaces, and that is just a bad idea. You should definitely wait till you're close enough to at least start to be able to stand and run. Like, you don't want to have to outswim a boat. That should be common knowledge, but I get it. They're new to Survivor. They want to make an impact. They want to start the game off good. And they did quite the opposite, but, it is an exciting thing to be out there, so, the nerves are at an all-time high. So, at the accumulation of the race, Yolanda and Ian get those immunity necklaces. And what are they immune from? What's going to happen? Well, Jeff's not there. We're going to have to wait to find out. So everybody's right to working on the shelter and getting food and just trying to all right, I guess we'll just start building everything up. Because, what else are we going to do? We're just going to sit here? But they are very confused. This is the most kind of confusing start to Survivor. There's been no tribes announced. There's no really instructions. It's just kind of we're here on the beach. Angie and Greg, they start talking. They start getting along. Everyone's trying to find a niche. Tom, Katie, and Ian, they start talking. They start getting to know each other. And Kobe is basically trying to figure out the maturity to be a part of. But again, do they really think it's going to be an individual game the whole way through? Something's going to happen. And we are going to find out right now how it's going to go. Ian and Yolanda, they get to pick their tribes. That is their immunity. It's only lasting through now. And the two people not picked are going to be gone. We're going to go from 20 to 18 here. And so everyone's like, oh shit, we're not even going to get voted out. It's basically just if we're not picked, that's it. It came over. So Ian picks Katie, because you have to pick a member of the opposite sex. So Ian picks Katie. Yolanda picks Bobby John. Ian picks Tom. Yolanda picks Stephanie. Ian picks Janu. Yolanda picks Jeff. Ian picks Greg. Yolanda picks Kim. Ian then picks Jen. Yolanda picks James. Ian picks Kobe. James picks Ashley. Kobe then picks Karen, which really upsets Angie as they were bonding. And Ashley picks Ibrahim. Now, Karen has to pick now between Willard and Jonathan. And the person not picked is done. And Karen ends up picking Willard, the person who's older, less physical, and probably ultimately less useful than Jonathan. So Jonathan is out of the game. Very disappointing for him. And then Ibrahim has to pick between Angie and Wanda. And he ultimately picks Angie. And Wanda is now out of the game as well. So right off the top, Jonathan and Wanda are gone, which is sad because Wanda, I don't know what she would have brought to the game. I don't know what she was going to do. I don't think we ever even got a confessional from Wanda. But, she could end up being a really good player. You can't really put physicality on the forefront. Now, Jonathan does look like a really big, young, physical guy. I think he would have done well in the game, but we'll never know. They're gone, and we'll never see them again. Pretty sad stuff. And I do not like doing this, cutting people before the game begins, because then we have those questions. If we did just let them play it out, we would know how Wanda and Jonathan play, and their downfalls would be their own doings, ultimately not just, oh, sorry, we don't want you kind of thing. And so the tribes are assigned. Ian and his crew are the Karor tribe. Yolanda and her crew are the Uulong tribe. And Angie, like I said, she's very upset Kobe didn't pick her because they were starting to bond. They were getting along. And he picks Karen, who he didn't even know that well, over her. And that really upset her. And Ian's like, all right, guys, let's just pick them off one by one. Karor is going to be the most dominant tribe ever. And this is ultimately going to be some foreshadowing for the events to unfold. So we get a jungle obstacle immunity, where you basically have to choose what you're carrying and then carry it through this little obstacle course. Karor is going to end up winning immunity. And they decide to take a new beach and not, because he says you can keep the beach you've already started or you can go to a new one and start over. And Tom's like, yeah, I came here for an adventure. Let's go to this new beach. And some people are not too happy about that decision, but Karor is going to. And now Yolanda is going to target Angie because she feels Angie is the weakest link. Now Stephanie wants to target Yolanda because Yolanda, her barking orders kind of got them to be a little slower in the challenge, trying to get everything instead of just the fire like Karor did, which is the most, the biggest necessity. They can get the other stuff later. They need fire. So Stephanie's not happy with Yolanda, and she goes to Bobby John to try to get this plan in action. And Bobby John is like, well, I don't know, Yolanda is really strong. I don't think Angie's ultimately going to be that strong, so I think we should just take her out now. And Stephanie's like, no, we need to take Yolanda out because she's going to end up costing us in the future. And just true to that, Yolanda's bossing everybody around, trying to be the most dominant person. And this causes most of the tribe to really be okay with getting rid of Yolanda because they don't like being bossed around all the time. And the vote comes out 6-3. Yolanda, the person who started Uulong, cut first from the Uulong tribe. 18th place here for Yolanda. Final thoughts on Yolanda. Oh boy. She just came off way too hot, way too strong. And, this is a 39-day game. You don't need to call, like, the second you hit the beach, you don't have to be a house of fire because ultimately you're going to burn down by the time the game starts getting swinging. So she's just too hard, too fast. You got to slow down. This is a marathon, not a sprint. So, due to the huge overplay, Yolanda out first. But I really don't think she's capable of playing a slower paced game. So Karen and crew, they're worried about that they dropped the box of their episode 2. Karen and them, they're trying to recover the box of flint they dropped on the way back to camp. So Karor dropped their box of flint, and they're like, shit, they still don't have fire because they dropped it. Janu, also, she's very frightened of rats. And again, like, if you're having trouble with the outdoors part of it, Survivor's probably not the best game for you. And she's just having a bad time already with the outdoor part. Karen is also speaking out against Tom's decision of saying he wanted to go with the other beach without asking everybody. Tom's like, hey, if you had a problem with it, you could have just objected. You didn't have to just go with it. And James at the Oolong tribe, he's very happy about Yolanda being gone. He's ready to try to become part of the majority alliance of this tribe. And Angie is trying to blend in. She understands she was, on her way to being voted out last time, and she wants to kind of just fade back, let a new target present itself, and kind of just be useful. Angie is playing this game pretty smart. So they get an obstacle course flag reward for fishing gear. Uulong wins the reward. And Angie was a big part of that. Angie showed how much of a rock star she was in the challenge. So Oolong's feeling good. They feel like they can come back and win an immunity now. They got a win under their belt. And they get fire. Jeff's going fishing. Things are happening. Jeff's trying to become the provider. Angie feels like she's proved that she's an asset to the tribe. They don't need Yolanda. Meanwhile, Karor still trying to get that box, and Ian ultimately gets the box from the bottom of the water. Good job, Ian. Now Karor gets their fire going. Their morale's up. They're ready to go. Uulong, they're getting giant clams. And Ashley's like, nope, not eating that. So I don't know why she doesn't want to eat it, but she just does. She's not into the whole eating clam part. I guess she'd rather starve. Because personally, if I'm on Survivor, if it's edible, I'll do it. And at night, Kim and Jeff have been cuddling. There's been some snuggling, some infatuation. And that's starting to worry people because you don't want a guaranteed duo to go far in the game. You can't have the flirting business. So we get like this immunity where you have to go underwater and pull this rope. And then do this whole Morse code thing. That's the immunity challenge. And by a long shot. This was a blowout. Karor wins immunity again, sending Uulong back to Tribal Council. And James, Angie, and Stephanie, they're targeting Kim. Because Kim was garbage in that challenge. She did not help. She was just sitting in the water. Just get her out of here. She's annoying. Go. Jeff and Kim, though, they're targeting Ashley. Just because they need someone else that's not Kim to go home. But Stephanie, she's like, hey, Jeff and Kim are a couple. Jeff is useful, but Kim, not so much. We need to break up that couple. We can use Jeff when he's alone. But Stephanie goes, she tells Kim she's on the chopping block. And James is like, well, you know what, Kim, you're not going to go. And Jeff and Kim, they're trying to push it toward Ashley. And the vote comes out 6-1. Ashley gets the boot. I really don't understand this. Because final thoughts on Ashley is I don't really know much about her. She was kind of useless. And, she probably would have been a good third boot. But why not Kim here? She's a couple. She's really bad at challenges. And she's very annoying. Whereas Ashley's just really not that great at challenges. You could just get her next time. I really don't think she's more of a threat than Kim. So, but they took her out here. She's the second one to go. I really don't think she was capable of playing a better game. Just kind of, one of those early boots you can take out just because numbers stuff. So Jeff and Kim, they're worried about their longevity in the tribe. So Kim needs to step it up if she's going to want to stay. James, he's like, no, Kim's got to go. No matter what, Kim got to be the next one to go. We cannot let her get any farther than she already is. So we have a shelter building going on for Karor. And Katie has this thing. She is very snarky when she talks. She's very just condescending when she talks. And Karen has no chill. Karen cannot keep it together. So, instead of just ignoring those snarky comments, she has to blow up on her about it. So we get Karen and Katie bickering at each other. And so, the Karor camp's a little on edge. And it's take two. You have to wrestle in the water for these rings to get them to your side for a sewing kit. And again, Angie is really good in this challenge. Angie is pretty much carrying Uulong, and Uulong does win rewards. So they've won 2 rewards and lost 2 immunities. They're not winning when it really counts, what it seems like here. So Uulong gets the reward. And Bobby John at the camp, he's not very happy about the work ethic. Bobby John is a tough worker. He works all the time, overtime at the camp. If you want someone to do good camp work, that's Bobby John. Meanwhile, Karor hunting snakes. Tom and Ian, they're killing snakes. They're trying to kill a shark unsuccessfully, though. Tom and Ian are starting to become best friends. I start to refer to Tom and Ian as the besties because they're always... It's hard... Here in Palau, it's hard to talk about Tom without talking about Ian until, the very end. But for the majority of the game, I'll just refer to them as the besties, and that means I'm talking about Tom and Ian. Back at Uulong, Jeff, in the middle of the night, rolls his ankle on a coconut. So he's injured, and he's really worried about being able to help them in the challenge. So this challenge is everyone's carrying weights, and each tribe are on opposite ends of a circle. And you have to basically catch up to the other tribe and tag them. And you're trying to stay away from your tribe and get behind them and tag them. So it's kind of this chase thing. And if you drop out, you have to give your weight, your 5 pounds, to somebody else. So then as more people drop out, it becomes harder on the people carrying the weight. And so, when everybody starts dropping out, it's Stephanie, Ibrahim, and Bobby John for Uulong carrying the weight, and Tom, Ian, and Greg carrying the weight for Karor. However, Ibrahim and Bobby John are getting super tired, having a hard time carrying all that weight. Ian and the besties and Karor catch up, and they tag. Karor wins 3rd immunity in a row. And Jeff says, hey, with my ankle, I'm not going to be able to contribute. You guys should vote me off. And they would much, much, much rather vote Kim, especially Stephanie and James. They would much rather vote out Kim. But Angie says, hey, we should probably vote out Jeff. You know, we're still breaking up the couple, and he wants us to vote him out, and he's got a bad ankle. Bobby John basically wants to honor Jeff's wish of taking him out of the game. And Kim is like, I'm good. I don't have to worry about this vote. The vote comes out 4-2-1. Jeff voted out. You know, final thoughts on Jeff. I think he really could have been an okay player. He got distracted by Kim, and then this ankle thing happens, and he just can't come back from it. So I would be interested in seeing a game, A, without Kim Mullen, and B, where he does, you know, when he's 100% in good health. But you know, he asked to be voted out, and he was voted out. So it's pretty cut and dry there, and I was sad to see him kind of go out this way. So rolling into the next episode, you know, Oolong's in pretty low spirits. Things aren't going great. They've lost 3 people, and they can't really seem to get it together, and it's not fun to lose that much. So they have to send someone from each tribe. Ian sent from Karor. Like, they have to pick a leader. Oolong's leader is James. Karor's leader is Ian. Kobe's not happy with the pecking order. So they basically have to build a shower, bathroom kind of thing for reward. And the reward is that someone's going to come in and help them get a better shelter going. So Tom and Ian, the besties here, they are kind of leading the charge for Karor. Whereas James, he's like, hey, I do this shit for a living. I'm like Boston Rob here. Whatever I say goes, you guys listen to me. And he's becoming very kind of arrogant and bossy with this. And Kim, in typical Kim fashion, is just super lazy, not really wanting to contribute, just kind of like whatever. She's really like Sarah from Marquesas. She's just gonna, sit around. And James is really rubbing people the wrong way, and he was in a really good spot up to this point. Stephanie kind of viewed him as like the number 2, and Angie the number 3. And now, James with this attitude and with this bossiness, it's like a Yolanda situation. Stephanie doesn't want to get bossed around. She's kind of the person that she's the kind of alpha type personality, and she doesn't like to have someone try to challenge her for that. So James is not doing himself any favors here. And James is confident. He said, there's no way we're going to lose. Well, he's wrong, because Karor does end up winning here. They have the better bathroom. And Uulong, they're like, man, we need to win this immunity. And it's a platform. You fight people off a platform. These sparring matches, immunity. Karor wins another immunity. That's 4 straight immunities for Karor. And Uulong is feeling it. They are not happy. And part of their loss is that James was bad at these fights. Like, he just kept getting his ass knocked off. And Steph and Angie, they do contemplate. Do we take out Kim or do we take out James here? Because James is really kind of dragging us down. The vote comes out 5-1. Kim voted out. I think that was a long time coming. I think she should have been out when Ashley got voted out. My thoughts on Kim, it's the same thoughts about Sarah from her case. She was lazy. She was hard to get along with. I mean, she gave them nothing to make them want to keep her, and she was doing a showmance kind of deal. So really, just of course, people were going to vote her out. She's lucky she made it this far. In any other situation, she's like the first, second boot. Not making it, 4 votes in, plus 2 people getting picked off at the beginning. So, this was best case scenario for Kim. I think she is probably one of the worst Survivor players. And cut. So Jen and Greg, now they're becoming very close, but not in a Jeff and Kim kind of way. They are liked by the besties, so they can really start to get close and not be noticed yet for how close they are. Angie. Is kind of take 2. At the Uulong camp, there's a lot of dissension between James and Angie, and where does Bobby John fit into this whole ordeal? And at Karor, Tom doesn't like Willard because Willard doesn't really do a lot around camp. He's kind of weaker in the challenges, and Tom basically feels like, hey, it's way past time for him to go. So basically, both tribes are going to go to tribal council, but they are going to play a reward challenge for to get food and to sit in on the other tribal council. And it's to do with these sake bottles. Like, you have to retrieve these bottles from the bottom. Karor wins by a hair. Like, Uulong was right there with Stephanie and Angie trying to get this done. And Ibrahim is kind of the one that was looked at for costing them this. They were kind of close to winning, and Ibrahim was a little slow. So they're really talking about Ibrahim going home here. And Karor is pumped to see what the Uulong dynamic is. Like, what's going on with their votes. And James, he's like, hey, Ibrahim, time for you to go. Long time coming here, buddy. See ya. Karor are pretty much all targeting Willard. Even Willard's like, hey, I know I'm going next. Good luck, guys. Thank you for taking me this far. Willard has all but given up, and it is really sad to see that because you had people like Jeff who really wanted to stay in this game, and you have someone like Willard who just was like, hey, at least I made it this far. And it also kind of sucks because I would have rather have seen Jonathan on the Karor tribe because maybe he would have fought harder than Willard. Willard should have just been booted at the start of the game. So Greg is talking to Kobe, and he's like, hey, when Willard's gone and probably Karen, we need to start thinking about Tommy and Katie. They're going to vote together. But if me and Jen team up with you and Janu, we can take out those 3, and then the final 4 be you, Janu, me, and Jen. I would rather go down that road than go with them. I'd rather be in 4 than 5. And Kobe's like, yeah, I'll definitely consider that. And Greg and Jen, then after having that conversation, are like, that's not for sure going to happen. We can put ourselves in a swing situation where we can, when things get down to the nitty-gritty, we'll decide, do we want to go with Kobe and Janu? Do we want to go with the besties? And wherever we'll be in the best spot in the game at that point. So Greg and Jen have really put themselves in a great position, and it's great that they're thinking about this now. They're not really putting too much into effect, but they're thinking about it. They're not even saying to Kobe and Janu, like, they didn't even talk to Janu, but they're saying to Kobe, let's think about that. So that way, if he goes to Tom and them, they could be like, well, we never said we were going to do that. Or they can even deny it wholeheartedly, and Tom probably won't believe them. So great maneuvering by Jen and Greg. I really do like both of them in this game. Because they had been kind of quiet up to this point, and just to see that they really are thinking about the game, it's pretty awesome. So their vote comes out 8-1. Willard is gone. That was pretty cut and dry. Willard probably should have been the first boot. So he is extremely lucky that he is, he's the fifth boot in this situation. Lasted as long as he did. In any other situation, he'd be gone. And honestly, I am sad that he stuck around this long. There's nothing. He is a terrible, terrible Survivor player. And with that ends Phase 1. Stay tuned for Phase 2. We'll talk about the flip side of the Oolong's Tribal Council and talk about the shenanigans there. We're going to go from pretty much all the way down to there's 10 people left in this game. Again, my name's Mac Taylor. Thank you, guys. See you for Phase 2.
Done this.